Hey guys, Professor Jaq here. Listen, in our second online interview, we had a chance to sit down with appearance agent Jeff Zannini. This is a guy who represents people like Tom Kenny, who is the voice of Spongebob Squarepants, Bill Fagerbakke, who plays Patrick, Billy West from Futurama and Disenchantment. He does Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings and Stranger Things. He did Superman, Dean Cain, and former Comic Con Baltics guests Stephen Ogg and David Faustino. Hope you enjoy the interview. Okay, so we are here with Jeff Zannini, who is a talent agent, a booker. First of all, I just thank you for taking the time to talk with us here. Now here in Lithuania, our quarantine is just lifting, but we're still encouraging everybody to kind of stay safe, right? To kind of keep yourself a little bit isolated. How are you doing? How's things?
Well, it's a quarantine. It's not really much fun. We're trapped over here. And by the way, thank you for taking the time and wanting to speak to me. I'm an appearance agent. It's what I do. Right now, not doing much. I'm stuck in the house, and pretty much we're just sitting around. Had to convert my whole business to a whole new model. So it hasn't been fun, but it definitely is different.
So what happened there? How do you convert? How do you do appearances? How do you book appearances in quarantine?
Well, right now there aren't any. So right now, unfortunately, the shows are all pretty, as you know, there are no shows. In the States, Florida and Texas have pretty much been the first two states to say, hey, there's no rules anymore. So we have those two states where they say they're going to have shows as soon as next month. We'll see how they go. A lot of the clients, though, right now, a lot of people are just a little scared. They're a little too scared to get out there. So a lot of them are going to be hesitant no matter what's in place, face mask, sanitizer. It's just the unknown. People are just a little scared of the unknown right now. So there's people that'll say, yeah, I'll go, no problem. But most people are staying on the side of caution. Sure.
So how are your clients, handling something? I'm sure you're still in contact with them. You're still...
Oh, yeah, we talk more than we ever did. None of us like it because, I'm not a typical appearance agent. I fell into this. My best friend happens to be one of the biggest voiceovers in the world, and I fell backwards into an opportunity, and I grabbed the opportunity. He opened the door. He always says it as, I was the dynamite, and he just was the one who lit it. So, he opened the door, and without opening the door, I wouldn't have what I have. But that door is open, and through years of friendships and meeting people and establishing relationships, it was a right place, right time kind of situation.
Nice. And so what are your clients doing?
Right now, they're all home. The good news is animation's still in production. They're home. They're still working. Places like Disney or Cartoon Network or whatever channel, Nickelodeon, they'll send the clients, if they don't have a professional booth at home, they'll send them a mic. They'll send them a setup so that they can do their job from their house. So they can still record and then send the audio in, and the animators can make the animation from their home, and they can all work remotely. Animation's really the only thing in production in Hollywood right now.
Sure. So are most of your clients animation? You said your best friend. Can we name his name? Is it
Jess Arnell? Jess Wacko from the Animaniacs.
Oh, of course. I've got a bunch of friends who are writers on Animaniacs.
Really? On the new one or the old one?
Old one.
Oh,
hey, you know the Groundlings?
Of course. Lorraine Newman is one of my clients.
I was the assistant director there for 8.5 years.
Wow, so you must know Lorraine.
I do know Lorraine, and I know Chad, her ex.
Yeah, Lorraine is royalty over there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I
Sherry Stoner, Deanna Oliver.
Oh God, Sherry, yes, and Andrea Romano and Tom Ruger and all those guys. I've known
Tress
them
McNeil.
all. Oh God, I would just talk to Tress 2 days ago. Tress is one of the dearest people I know on the planet. I mean, she is just amazing. Probably the greatest female voice actress of all time, in my opinion. I mean, there might be other people out there that have done this or done that, but longevity, versatility, just pure human kindness. I don't know of a better person, better female in the business. I mean, and there's a lot of them, the Jen Hales and the Gray Delisles. I mean, they're amazing as well. Tress has just been doing it longer than anybody. I mean, in my opinion, other people like Jen's in the Guinness Book of Records for female video game voices, and Gray is everywhere and she's current. But again, Tress has that longevity where she just was there first. That's the only difference.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense too. I mean, I've known her. I mean, I got to the Groundlings in the late '80s, so I'm older than I look.
I was gonna say, you look younger than me. What are you doing?
Yeah,
maybe I need to move over to Lithuania.
Yeah, I'll be 53 in a month.
Wow. Well, I'll be a little bit under that in about a month.
So yeah, July 13th. So
July 26th. Awesome.
Nice. July baby.
Right month, just a different sign. That's
it's okay. So, all right, but getting back to this, we're doing this obviously as part of Comic Con Baltics.
Yeah.
Trying to give our fans something because we had to postpone our convention, which was originally slated for September. We're now going to be in March. You do a lot of cons, a lot of Comic Cons, a lot of things like that. Are you a fan of these events?
That's my business. I'm at Comic Cons worldwide. I mean, it's appearances. So Comic Cons are the majority of it, but book signings, personal appearances, anything that involves them, they have their theatrical agents and they handle their jobs and all of their real life work. And then when it comes to making an appearance or doing a signing or an interview or something that's of the personal appearance nature, that's where I step in. So, that's why I call myself an appearance manager, because an agent, they're the official guys who work out in Hollywood. They get residuals, they get, the big checks. And then I'm here to help them make some fun money on the side, traveling and going places all over the world like Lithuania, and having and enjoying great shows and experiencing life and getting things that they wouldn't normally have just through their normal business.
Sure. So
Comic-Cons are, I'm sorry, what I was going to say is, Comic-Cons that I do, we are officially worldwide. Other than Antarctica, we are on every continent that there is. We do shows. I have been to shows all over the world, and primarily, but that part of the business has ended at the moment.
Right. Sure. Obviously, I mean that's why we're doing this. But so, would you say that it's an important part of the culture? I mean, what do you think that cons bring to the fans? I mean, what makes a good con for you?
There's two ways to look at it. From our point of view, what makes a good con are cons that take care of you. Make you feel like you're important, even no matter what level of client it is. Like me personally, doesn't matter. I can sleep on the floor somewhere. Not that I want to, but I can. But for the clients, it's getting them a flight they want, getting them a nice hotel, giving them transportation, a nice green room, a place to get away and turn off for 5 minutes. Offering them food instead of bags of chips and cookies. That's what good conventions are. Those are the conventions people want to come back to. Not running them ragged from open to close and asking for freebies. But what we look for typically are those qualities. As far as how many offer that, let's just say that a lot of them out there could use some help.
So that brings us to the next one. Have you heard of, had you heard about Comic Con Baltics before?
Yes, of course I've heard of Baltics. We sent David Faustino and Stephen Ogg to that show. But yeah, I was bummed because I didn't get to come to your show. It was on a weekend where I think there was 6 other shows that weekend, and I was contracted to be at another show because of a specific panel I created. So when they booked that panel, I have to be there. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, but I was real excited this year to come out, and what happened. So unfortunately, I got to wait another year to meet all you guys in person.
Hopefully you can come out in March, because we would love to. Excellent. So what did you hear about our archive? Just to stroke our ego a little bit, how are we doing?
What I heard, and this came straight from my rep who went out there to the show, was he said, you guys, you handled everything beautifully. Clients were happy. They said your attendees were happy. It was a wonderfully run show. As in every show, there was a hiccup here, a hiccup there, but nothing that was, oh my God, we can't ever go back there. He was actually mad because he wanted to go back to the next show, and I told him there's no way I'm going to the next show. So we were arguing about who got to come. But yeah, he told me that everything as far as what we look at as far as line control and security and how it runs and how it moves in the green room and just transportation, just general how you feel at a show, he said was fantastic. You guys made him feel like he was welcome everywhere, and he really, really appreciated that.
That's great. That's great to hear from our standpoint too. So now you had mentioned that you kind of fell into agenting.
Yes.
How would one go about doing it? I mean,
for me, I don't know how. I mean, it was something I never imagined. It was the fortune of my best friend. I happen to know Jess Harnell. We met just hanging out. It's a funny story, actually. They were coming to do a signing at a Warner Brothers store years and years and years in the early 90s, 91 or 2 or whenever it was. And I happened to be selling animation, and we were in a break room, and we both were sitting there, and he started talking about music, and it was this instant connect. And we were like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing later? And we hung out, and we remained in contact, and we've been like brothers ever since.
That's awesome.
And through the years of hanging out with him and being at his house and parties and going out and meeting, I met Rob Paulson and Tress MacNeille and Maurice LaMarche that same day. I've known them going on 30 years now. Oh. But through living out there and going to all these events one by one, I met Grey Delisle and Jennifer Hale, and I met, Billy West and Jim Cummings and all these other guys, just happenstance, and became friends independently. And before you know it, one thing led to another. And then one day, Jess called me up and he said, hey, these shows keep asking me to come out. I don't know what they are. That tells you how old the story is. He's like, figure it out. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I was working some retail job that I hated. And I said, so I made the phone calls, and I called them back. And I said, hey, man, they want you to come out and sign autographs and take pictures, and they're going to pay you. And he said, will they bring you? And I said, yeah. He said, all right, let's go. And we went to a show, and we're sitting at a table, and there were a few other promoters. I didn't even know who they were. And they were like, who else do you work with? And I said, who else do you want? And that's how it started. It was, honestly, I'm not simplifying it. I'm not making a joke. It was that simple. And the only part I skipped over was Jess originally asked me, I represented his band, Rock Sugar. So I was working with Rock Sugar. We were doing shows. And it was a fan at one of those shows that said, you're Jess Harnell, come to Comic Con. And he said, what's Comic Con? And then he sent an email, and it led to that moment. Basically, he said, hey, these guys keep sending me the email. He sent it to me. And that's how the whole thing happened. Sorry, I told it in reverse, but
that's okay.
That's the story. And as far as getting into it, to be honest with you, I am just fortunate and lucky that my best friend happened to be a big voice actor, and I happen to know these guys as friends. I mean, they know my family, they know my kids. We have hung out together, we go to dinner together, and then this opportunity just kind of fell out of the sky, and I ran with it. So I got lucky. I mean, I will never tell anyone different. I got real lucky, and then it was all about the relationships I had built the previous decade with all these folks, and they said, wait a minute, an agent, trust? Hang on a second, that doesn't make sense. Let me figure this out. So that's how I've grown to what I am. And to answer your question from earlier, I started with animation, and you name it. I've got almost every animated voice out there, and I'm very proud of that, because I just think it's overlooked. I think voiceover actors are overlooked a lot, and it's not right, because they hit more genres, they hit more generations of people than anybody else. I mean, they're amazing. But
Phil
I also
is another good friend of mine.
Who?
Phil Lamar.
Oh God, I was just talking to Phil. Phil's a great guy. We do a lot of stuff with Phil. But I have grown to where it started with a couple of crossovers that did animation and on camera, and now we're at the point where we have plenty of on camera folks as well. So we have come full circle where we represent pretty much everybody.
That's fantastic. So what are some of the challenges that you face?
Wow.
Or can we talk about those?
Yeah. I don't have that much time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. The challenge is you're always the guy in the middle. No matter what, you're the bad guy. And you have to accept that. You have to have thick skin, because you go to the promoter wants to spend the least amount of money for the highest form of talent. And you go to the talent, and they want the most amount of money for the least amount of work. So you have to find a way to find that middle ground for both people. And it's not always easy. But I have found, my opinion is, if you're honest and straight about it, usually in the long run, it's easier to get there in a quicker way and build a good relationship. I'd rather do that than try and float both sides, and before always trying not to be caught, so to speak. So I'm just straightforward. I say, look, the guys aren't going to come unless you can do this. And then I go back to the clients and go, look, this is the best offer they can give you. And I tell the show, hey, if I go back and tell them this is the deal and they find out someone else got a better deal, we're not going to be able to work together. We're going to have a problem. So as long as everybody's on the table, everybody has good business. And that's kind of the way I do business. And I'm very straight about it. I'm just like, look, I'll bring this offer back, but believe me, everyone talks. And if they find out that this is different, unfortunately, we can't be friends, and I have found that, I'm in every big show in the world. So I feel like I'm doing something right, that I built the relationships with people that they believe me and that they want to work with us.
Sure. It's certainly not the standard, Hollywood agent.
No, and that's how I'm different than a normal quote unquote agent. I know this, it's like lawyers. Everyone has this, reputation that they are underhanded and they're everyone's trying to scam this and that. I haven't found that. I know a ton of agents and I think they're all great guys, but I don't have to work with them at that angle. Right. I think I work with almost every agency in LA, and most of my relationships I think they're fantastic. Most people I feel like are straightforward, but I'm on a different aspect of it. Right. The way I work is I'm different. I came into this through a bunch of my friends. It's not me working with clients. It's me calling up a buddy going, hey, how are you? What's going on? How have you been? How's the kids? How's the wife? How's the husband? And we kind of shoot the breeze. Then we talk about business. So it's a different relationship that I have.
Absolutely. But now here's a silly question, right? So say, I'm my regular job, I'm a university professor, I'm a writer. Mm-hmm. I spent, 16 years in Hollywood doing TV and movies and at the Groundlings and stuff. But, change of pace. I want to do what you're doing.
Okay.
How do I get involved?
All I can tell you is make a best friend who happens to be a great voice actor or an on-camera actor or something. Because for me, to break into something like what I'm doing, you've got to know someone. Because these guys, what most of them have found with an appearance manager is trust is critical.
Sure. Because
most of the ones that come through the big Hollywood agencies, you're not dealing with Warner Brothers and Sony and multi-million-dollar budgets. You're dealing with, Joe or Frank or Jim, who happen to get lucky and build a big show and did really well. They don't have those kinds of budgets, and they don't have the things that movie studios would give you.
Right.
So the formal agencies, they're trying to get into this market, and they're out there. They're just, it is what it is. Everyone has their own angle. Everyone does their own thing. So without the connection to the talent, there's no way to break in, to be honest.
Sure.
Because that's the only way in, is to know the talent.
Right. Yeah. It's not like a straight agency where you can work your way up and you're an assistant agent or a junior agent. And
yeah, no, I have people, you can have people that work for you that maybe eventually, like some of my people have brought clients to the company. So that is technically their client. So every time they're booked, they get a percentage, they get paid. And that's the way you work up in this side of the business. It's kind of commonality that, certain people will, poach or steal a client here or there or try this or try that. But, that's usually frowned upon. And the more you get to know what's going on, the more people won't deal with that.
Sure. So, all right. Your job, again, aside from the agent thing, you're hanging out with celebrities. How cool is that?
Oh, it's always cool. It's funny because when they're your buddies, it's different. Half the time you don't see it, but sure. When you go out somewhere and you see people going crazy of them, it's different. It's always cool. Getting to know them on their personal side is great, because when they're your friend, you don't ever see them that way. But when you see them at a show and all these people are going crazy, and you see them out in public and people go, oh my God, you're so, it is an envious thing. It's something, that I would love that. I'd love to know what that feels like, and that feeling of, wow, there he is. And it would be great, but you take the lot you have.
Sure.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a different realm. You're hanging out with, most of the people in that circle that I know they're just, not only are they talented, but they're extremely intelligent. They worked really hard to get where they are. I mean, I don't think I have anyone on my roster that was, that just kind of fell into, a multi-million-dollar voice acting career or an on-camera career. They worked, and what people don't understand is there is no overnight success in entertainment. Yeah. You don't just land in it. You work really hard to get to it. I mean, there's nepotism, but that's a whole other, conversation. Sure. But most of these guys, they worked real hard. They crafted their talents really, really, really hard. They worked for years, getting nothing. And then they got a break, and then they got another break. And the ones that rise to the top, I found, and stay there, have good attitudes. People want to work with them, and they all say the same thing. You want to see people smiling when you're coming and going.
Right, yeah, nice.
When you walk into a studio and people aren't smiling, when they smile when you leave and not when you come, that's very bad.
Right. So, okay. So then we've all heard the Van Halen brown M&M story.
Green M&Ms, right?
Or blue. Green M&Ms or something else. Brown M&Ms was the actual Van Halen story, right? The no brown M&Ms. Do any of your clients have like really odd specific riders or weird, anything that you can talk about? We don't have to name names. But
now, we already said I'm not going to name names.
Right, but is there somebody who needs needs 14 pillows in their hotel room, or a basket of fresh raspberries every morning? Nobody's
that bad. I mean, everyone. The way I see it is everyone has their thing. Even us. When you travel, or your friends, or when I travel, there's certain things that are non-negotiable for you. I have everything from somebody who requires a fridge in their room, requires to go to, a supermarket upon arrival because they only eat certain foods because of their diet. People that if it's not a king bed, they won't go. Has to be a suite or have air conditioning, or, I want to make sure I'm going to get, a per diem so I can go buy my own food because I don't want to eat in the green room. No, I haven't had anything, as far as, the green M&Ms and the blue bowl. It has to be 50. If it's 49, I'm leaving. Nothing is that crazy. But yeah, let's just say when you're bringing 7, 8, 9 people to a show and they all have their own little thing, it's challenging, but it's part of the job. I look at it as, if I was them and I said, hey, I wanted this, I would expect that. And that's the way I see it is, everyone has their own thing that's important to them.
And that's part of your job, is to juggle all of that.
I wouldn't have a job if I didn't do those things. So I'm grateful every day at what I just as lucky could be. And every time I see Jess and we're at a show, I remind him. And he always tells me the same. If he was here, he'd say the same thing. He'd say, you did it. Well, if you didn't open the door, I would have never had the opportunity to do it. So I consider myself very lucky, and the people I get to know and hang out with are just some of the greatest people who've become my family. And I couldn't be more thankful for that.
That's fantastic. So then do you have an eating out story? Yeah, you know what I mean? The story that you eat out on.
Well, it's funny. I mean? It's funny because I actually have a story about eating out, which is part of that. To put an exclamation point on what I just said, we go to shows, and a lot of times, everyone kind of goes their own way at the end of the day. Some people are tired. Some people don't want to deal with it. Some people go out, some want to drink, some want to eat, some want to party, some don't. Everyone has their own thing. So I created this thing where one night while we're out, it's usually a 3 or 4 night stint. You go out like Thursday night or Friday, you come home Sunday night or Monday. It's a weekend. So one of the nights I always make a reservation at the nicest steakhouse in the city we're in. And it was Maurice LaMarche who actually helped me start this tradition. Because when it comes to steak, I call him from anywhere in the world. I'm like, hey, I'm in this city. Where's the best steak joint? He'll have an answer in 5 minutes. He's amazing. I love him. So we were in this, I don't remember where it started, but we were in a city, and he said, hey, I found this steak joint. So we all went to dinner, and then it became this thing where every show I'd be like, hey, Friday night or Saturday night, whatever, 7:00, be in the lobby. We have reservations, this place, steak dinner. It evolved to this thing that now all of these people, when they go, they're like, hey, what nice family dinner? Because we call it family dinner, because it's these friends that in LA never get together, because the business, you never see anybody. So we created this thing where it's called a family dinner, and we actually have other people I don't even work with and other agents that are out there and promoters that are like, hey, when's family dinner? Because I want to join you guys. Because when we go, it's just fun. It's friends, it's family, it's people that haven't talked in forever, and we catch up on life and, you know, kids, and it's honest conversation, and it's not showboating and who could be the biggest man in there. It's nice. It's a very cool thing. That's what we do. But as far as what you're looking for,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I can tell you one of the funniest stories. It was the first time I ever booked this client, and, you know, gets to the hotel. They get to their room, they're settled in, you know, and it's a huge room. And wow, look at this. They're FaceTiming with their family, going, wow, look at what I got. Look at what look what I get when I go away, bragging, you know, to their kids. And as they're doing all this, you know, they're looking around the room and whatnot. They hang up the phone, you know, and they're getting ready for bed, walking around. You know, this person is, let's just say that this person is in their undergarments. And they walk out into the living room. This room had like 3 rooms within this one hotel room. And the bedroom door closed. And that was the door that had a lock on it. There's no phone in the rest of the room. There's no locks. There's nothing. And the key was in the other side of the door. Oh. So this person grabs a pillow cushion or 2 and peeks into the hallway trying to find people to say, hey, can you call downstairs? There's nobody. Oh, so they have to walk out into the hallway with nothing but a pillow cushion or 2 and knocked on a random door where they heard noise. And immediately when the doors open, the person goes, first it's, oh my God, I know who you are. Right. And second, it's, oh my God, are you naked? Because all they see is the pillow cushions. And they go, no, relax. I'm not a freak. I'm not being weird. I'm not doing anything. I just need you to please call the front desk and have security come up with a key. I'm locked out of my room. Let's just say that person was in the hallway for like 10 minutes with pillow cushions waiting as a few people strolled by and went, hey, you're so-and-so. Yes, I am. Please look the other way, you know, trying to stay covered. Yeah, and it was the first time I'd ever worked with them. So it was like they had no way to get to me because they had no cell phone, no phone, no nothing. So I when you hear that story, it's like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me. But they're like, no, it's my fault. I get it, you know. And then they called back their family and went, well, guess what I just did. You know? So, but it was a really funny story. It ended up, you know, innocently ended up, you know, happening. But it was funny. It was so funny.
And do you still work with that client?
Oh yeah, very good client, very good client. I cannot mention whether it is a him or a her, but
no. That's fine.
Let's just say it was a lot of fun.
That's excellent. All right. 2 last questions, and then we'll let you get out of here. So we understand that you kind of fell into this.
Yep.
But now that you've been doing it for a while, is there anything else you could see yourself doing?
Well, I mean, to answer your question, right now I'm not doing anything. You know, until the world resumes itself, we had to pivot. We had to make a right turn and go in a whole new direction. So we went online, and we started a whole new company. I called Geek Sign, GEEKSIGN, Geek Sign, and it's online autographs. So you can still get your favorite celebrity's autograph. They do it live on camera. They log on to Instagram. And they sign all the autographs live. You can have it personalized, not personalized, whatever you want, around the world. We do these almost every weekend. And we have anywhere from 1 to 4 people on a Saturday and a Sunday. In fact, Phil Lamar, coming up at the end of the month, he'll be doing his live signing. We just had a couple of guys from Grand Theft Auto. We had a couple of guys from Red Dead Redemption. We have Freddie Prinze Jr. coming up, and Jennifer Hale, who we mentioned earlier. Gray Delisle, all these folks. But if you go to geeksign.net, we started this new company so fans can still get autographs. They can still see their favorite celebrity online live signing their autographs. And a lot of shows now are starting to do the one-on-ones where they can do a meet and greet for 1.5 minutes. And other shows are trying to do online conventions. And it's happening. It's just not happening quickly.
Sure.
So, you know, there's other services out there, you know, like when we could do audio, video recordings and whatnot. There's different things that are happening. But yeah, we had to start something and do something new because my whole company ended. There's no
Sure.
Until there are conventions again or personal appearances and gatherings, we can't go back to the old way of life for now. So we had to come up with a whole new way, and we have 3 or 4 other things in the mix that are actually going to be debuting soon. They're just not completed yet, but we're trying to keep all of our fans engaged. And in fact, I'm sorry, it's a long-winded answer, but
No, it's fine.
The biggest thing that we're still doing, I created a panel called Twisted Toonz. I don't know if you've ever seen it online on YouTube. And we take a movie that imagine Star Wars. Everyone's seen Star Wars. So you're watching Star Wars. Here comes Darth Vader, the dark music. It's evil. You're waiting for that deep voice. And all of a sudden you hear Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
That's the idea. So we take a movie and I have voice actors. I recast it with their voices and impressions. So any of you out there that want a really good laugh, go to YouTube, go to Twisted Toonz. We just partnered with a company called Geektainment, does a streaming network. They're streaming on Geektainment if you want to, look up different channels and whatnot, or you can go to Twisted Toonz on YouTube, and that's what we do. So that panel caught fire. We did one, and we had 1 million hits in 30 days. We had 2 million hits in 60 days. And
Nice.
On a whim, we did this panel. I had been begging promoters to do this for 3 years. No one would do it. And then this one show in Seattle, Emerald City, gave us a break.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, you can have the show. 6,000 people showed up and had no idea what we were doing. It just had voice actors on stage. And we did Star Wars. And it would have about 7 million hits by now. It's been taken down a couple times because, Lucasfilm thought we were, copywriting and we weren't. And then Disney thought we were and we weren't. So every time it hits about 2-3 million, it gets pulled down. So it's up for the 3rd time again on my site. But we have about 20 different videos up there. We've done movies, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Breakfast Club, all the classics. And that we've actually just shot 6 of them that we're releasing every Friday for the next month and a half. And all the money that's raised, there's on the screen, there's a little donation for any families or any frontline workers affected by this virus. Anyone that can donate $1 if you have it, you put the money, and the money all goes to those people. And if you don't, what I say is if you don't have any money, just sit back and enjoy some laughter in a very tough time in our lives.
That's fantastic. So all right, well then that actually answers, the other question that I was going to ask too. So that's amazing.
We had nothing else to do, so we figured let's try to raise money for charity. So I called all my friends and said, hey, would you give me a half hour, an hour of your time? We're going to read. And what we normally do is we read movies, but in the ones we're releasing now, we just read South Park, we did Friends, we did Seinfeld, we did The Golden Girls. We're trying to do TV shows now, and it's if you like improv and impressions and cartoon voices, this is the YouTube channel for you.
That's fantastic. So, and please keep us informed of some of these other things that are in the pipeline, because we would love to share them with our Comic Con Baltics family as well.
Absolutely. If you just keep checking geeksign.net, you'll see it, or Geektainment, geektainment.tv. Any of these places, Twisted Toonz, we'll announce it all over, but we have 3 or 4 other ideas because we had to keep engaged. We had to keep fans. We had to keep our celebrities, happy, and we had to find a way to make money and keep doing business even in this time. And unfortunately, everything is on the computer now. So we pivoted, and we're doing Twisted Toonz. We're doing autograph signings and several other things. They're all coming. That's
great. So Jeff Zannini, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It sounds like it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to be a success at it. I mean, you're just
well, thank you. I appreciate you guys even caring to talk to me for a minute. I am honored that you guys wanted to speak to me, and I'd be happy to anytime you want. I think your show's great, and your people are great, and you all seem like great people. So I'm very excited to get to that show eventually.
Absolutely, and we're excited to have you. So thank you very much for taking the time, and hopefully we will see you in March.
I would be thrilled. Thank you very much.
Hope you guys enjoyed that interview as much as we did. I'm Professor Jaq. We'll see you next time.